he says to your boy, nigga, 400 years is long enough. You've been sitting down and laying down and bowing down for 400 years. I think it's time to stand up. I think it's time to stand up.
I'm on the block, 6'1", about 205. A king's ransom is asked to command my task. On my back is a gash from the slaver's lash. My eyes dance nervously as they clear my path. My feet gnaw and cut make it hard to proceed. But the whip on my back make me move with more speed. The smell of the oceans keeping me hoping that the Lord will redeem me. Oh, why'd you leave me? Destitute, heartbroken, shamed. I see my little brother die with a whack from a cane. So much pain and blood stained pit of the ship. I was chained to a dead man. They used me for a bedpan. They grabbed my neck and the hot iron burn. Check my ass for worms and abominable germs. Then I gas or breath hard, flustered and weak. Pig grease my physique as they check my teeth. Now I hear the jingle of coins, my worst fear. I'm sold for some rum and beer. The crowd cheers. Meet my master, a sadistic, effeminate. Made me run 19 miles to his tenement. For 10 years I broke my back. No respect, no love. Then one day snapped. But they had a plan for that. They put my head in a burlap sack, my hand strapped. I was thrown in the back of the car, my heart's pound. The faggot ass master's touching, feeling me now. He's rubbing on my chest, lust fills his breath. Gave me the kiss of death, and there's no time left. I feel the thick hemp rope that I made with my own hands. Noosed around my neck is irony for a man named Joe Walker, whose spirit was free. On October 11th, I swung from a tree. Slave ships docked and up come the blocks. Unload the stock with chains and locks. Whips crack, bodies bloody and bruised. We take it back and forget. And my people react. Chain react, cause all my black people forget. Destroyed by the knowledge they lack. 400 years is what happened to Black Jew, Israelite, diaspora.
Stuck on the run, they already got one of my sons. Sold him for a bottle of brandy and a gun. Fatigue from the hot rays of the sun, but there's no quitting. Blisters on my feet, arms, legs, mosquito bitten. Left my wife, another son, and what I hope is a safe place. Out for blood and revenge just to save face. As long as I'm alive, it's death to the uncircumcised. They enslaved and sold my fam. The sons of Ham and Ishmael. For more detail, I already killed 2 of their males. They raided the temple, defamed the Holy Grail. I can't fail, I'm destined to prevail. Just ahead I see an Ishmaelite riding his Clydesdale. He stops taking sip from his canteen. I duck down, cheetah moving so we can't see. The sun beams on my machete, so the blade gleams. While he daydreams, unseen, I chop the leg of the unclean. Now the hunter does the hunting. He falls screaming on his knees, begging please not to kill him. I gag his mouth, hoping nobody hurt him. One swipe to the neck, off goes his turban. His curtains, mind of a dirty surgeon. Cutting, don't care, blood on my hands, I run scared. Not prepared for what the future holds. I'm still bold, prideful in fact. Next I hear a snap, got caught slipping. Messed around and stepped in a bear trap. Out comes the nets and ropes. Bye to my dreams and hopes. A heathen got me, beat me, dragged me to a boat. Threw salt on my wounds, beat me till I swelled like a balloon. Laugh and spit in my face, forced me at the finest, went no way to escape.
Slave ships docked and up come the blocks. Unload the stock with chains and locks. Whips crack, bodies bloody and bruised. We take it back and forget. And my people react. Chain react, cause all my black people forget. Destroyed by the knowledge they lack. 400 years is what happened to Black Jew, Israelite, diaspora.
Master, not tonight, please. Words of my wife as I listen to her scream. As more of this demon sweat and blood drips on her cheek. Blood drips from my lips as my teeth punctures and bleeds. As my soul strickens and plots to redeem. Her womb infested like maggots with the white man's seed. Lord, what kind of species is these? She only makes love to me in her dreams. But even in those, she flashbacks to the face of the beast. Months later, she found in pregnancy, where they cut her open and stomp out the fetus with her feet. Strange fruit no longer swing from trees. They swing from the corner blocks of Martin Luther King. How long will these modern day savages come to be? We the words of that Willie Lynch letter that we helped to complete. Deuteronomy 28:6. This be part of the earth where the grass didn't grow. Concrete jungle, like this blinking box by the shadow. Illuminati eye is plot. clocking. So I send up prayers and return stares back to them streets that's watching.
All right. All praises, honor, glory to the Most High. Why y'all was shot? It's your brother IQAhmath. I acquire first name IQ. It's all the same. You reach another episode. DSTM. Don't shoot the messenger. You can't do that. That's against the rules. Let alone you be breaking the law. You feel me? Prayerfully, everybody's doing well in the Shabbat. And welcoming you in. Good evening, all that good stuff. Good night. Good morning. Depending on wherever you're at or what time you watch this. Some of y'all ain't up with me. It's okay. Maybe I'll check it out tomorrow. Or maybe we might get some favor with YouTube and they might stop shadow banning the channel and actually send out the notifications and let our subscribing audience know that we actually got some work going on over here. We got the word going on out here, right? How's everybody doing? Hopefully everybody's doing well. If you're doing all right, throw a 7 in the chat. It's okay. You can come on in, salute your fellow saints as the scriptures call for us to do so. Right? Come on in. Come on in. 7's in the chat if you're all right, man. Let me know. If you're not, you know we got the prayer list active. We have no problem adding you on. All right. All right, good. All praises, man. Yeah, everybody's doing well so far. You can already see it, man. And y'all already know. And you know, all of the faithfuls in here, from Kohath to Shalak to Ashard to Uziel to the House of Bayan and everybody else that's been joining in, tuning in, and been following along with the DSTM movement. Y'all already know where we was gonna go today. Y'all been paying attention. You've been seeing what's been going on. We were having within the news. 48-hour deadline was up on Tuesday. Ironically, it was Taco Tuesday. Taco Tuesday, and your man went ahead and made a nice fat taco, man, took a nice chunk out of it, and all of a sudden, here comes a peace deal, or a ceasefire deal. Let's say that. Ceasefire deal, all of a sudden is on the table. And within hours, less than 24 hours, sudden destruction happens, right? So we're going to get right into it, man, because one thing for sure, two things for certain, man. The word of the Most High is going to always prevail over the words and the thoughts of men. Let that sink in. For the slow folks in the back, the word of the Most High is always going to take precedence and supersede the thoughts of men all day long, right? Let me share my screen and get y'all in the mix with me. Maybe we'll do it this way. Let's open up with said scripture, 1 Thessalonians 5. And we're going to read 1 down to 3 because it's timely. So as we're reading here, it says 1 Thessalonians 5 and 3. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. Paul is saying, man, you know what time it is. You know the times and the seasons. I don't need to tell you. I'm in the spirit of Paul right now. If y'all don't know and you ain't been feeling it and seeing it, witnessing it and seeing it in the spirit, man, something's wrong with you. Your mind has gone too far in the world, as the angel Uriel told Ezra, as he was seeking more understanding and more knowledge and understanding from the Most High. And he was like, man, your mind has gone too far in the world. You are not ready to receive this. Right? So Paul is acknowledging. He said, look, you have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. So we all are sitting here praying, preparing, being on our P's and Q's as we should be. We're entering into the new spirit of renewal. That's going to be my lesson tomorrow for the closing Shabbat class, because what are we in? We're in the spring season. Everything's being renewed again. That's supposed to be reflective of our spirits and how we're, moving in a new spirit of newness with the purging of the leaven, coming off of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Prayerfully, everybody had a good one. I know I did. Even though it went by super fast, I know I had a good piece of unleavened bread and Passover with the brethren and the sister. Right. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord shall cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, oh, we've got a ceasefire. Oh, we've got a deal worked out. Everybody calm down. The strait's going to be opened up immediately. We're going to get everything back in order again. We've got a 10-point plan. Thanks to Pakistan. Bars. We've got it all worked out. Really. And your good old stinking hook nose AstroTurf GMO based organism occupying our land as squatters did what they do best. Bombs away on Lebanon, unaliving, I forgot what the number was. Let's just say multiple people. And I know they said over 100 people are injured. They bombed a funeral. I mean, good Lord. And immediately jumped out and said, the ceasefire doesn't include Lebanon. Y'all heard all the rhetoric and the lies. But this is more indicative of how the Spirit of the Lord works. He said, for when they shall say peace and safety, then what happens? Sudden destruction cometh upon them. See, the Most High is the one who's in control of it all. So when he says, listen, when destruction is to happen, that's what it is. This is not the spirit in the time of peace right now, as we should all know. There's wars, rumors of wars, there's pestilence, there's plague, there's famine, there's poverty, there's oppression, there's lies. I mean, everything is at its heightened levels right now. It says, sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Not escape. It was 300 people got unalived, Ashar? I didn't think it was that many. Let's see, how many? What's the look now? They got 2024. Look how many times they didn't hit them up. Oh, where are we at? Israel has killed more than 100 civilians. Yeah, they got 100 right now. I'm not sure where you got the 300 from. Well, that's saying in 10 months. Oh, this is from 2025. Good luck, y'all. I'm out here looking at the wrong. Yeah, they said in 10 minutes they launched over 100 missiles, man. Where's the casualties at? Well, y'all already know. Forget whatever the number is. We know that it was multiple bodies in a span of 10 minutes. The heathen got loose that fast. So 1 Thessalonians 5:3 again says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So when it comes down to the judgment of the Most High and how the Most High executes vengeance, prophecy, there's no escaping that, right? Now let's look at something else. Romans 3. And let's look at verse 4. It says, the Most High it's hard not to touch it all. We'll start Romans 3. We'll read 1 down to 4, right? What advantage then hath the Jew, or what profit is there of circumcision? Much every way, all praise to the Most High. When anybody's wondering, what's so big about being an Israelite? So what, you're a Jew? No. The profits are heavy, much in every way. Because unto them were committed the oracles of the Most High unto us. The law, statutes, and commandments, the word of the Most High, the prophecies, the judgments, the being holy and consecrated and separated from the rest of the nations, to be endowed with the Spirit of the Lord, that was committed unto us. And verse 3 says, for what if some did not believe? What if you say, man, that's BS? Oh, that's part of a hate group. You guys are twisting the Bible. Oh, you guys ain't. What if you don't believe that? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? God forbid. Doesn't matter what you believe, I believe it's what the Most High said, and that's what holds true. That's what we stand firm on. That's what we invest our faith in. So what if you don't believe? So what if you say, oh man, the Bible's been tampered? So we're from Africa. Like, you can tell them till they blue in the face. It's what they have a term called cognitive dissonance, where it doesn't matter how much you can prove and show to somebody that their ideology, their religion, whatever the case may be, is false or has flaws or has question marks in it. They won't budge. They're going to just stick with it. It's all they know. You know, many of our people that's still trapped with the needle of Christianity, the needle of Baptist, Seventh-day Adventists, African Methodists, you name it, all them denominations, Islam, those needles are still stuck in their arm, man, and the IV drip is still going heavy in them. They don't want to pull it out. You can say, look, man, there's poison in that thing. Man, get it up out of you. Wake up. They're like, no, I'm comfortable. This is all I know. Let the drip continue. But because of their unbelief, does that make the faith of the Most High without effect? Absolutely not. The Most High forbid. Yea, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar. Right? Let everything that the Most High, the words of the Most High are pure. According to Proverbs 30. Let's get that real quick. Proverbs 30, and I think it's 5 or 6. Yeah, here we go. Verse 5, every word of the Most High is pure. He is a shield unto them that put their trust in him. And the more that our people see, realize, and understand what's going on in the earth, that's why I made mention before, and y'all have seen it. When you got military generals in the United States Army and the head of the Department of War proclaiming himself to be a devout Christian, and this is basically a holy war. You seen last week, Agent Orange was talking about praise be. First he was trolling the damn the Persians, talking about praise be Allah after he was talking about wiping them off the map. But prior to that, he said he wanted to give all glory to God. Now, you know he don't believe that. The question was, which God, is he talking about? But they believe that this is a holy war. You have multiple generals that's telling the rest of the arm, their particular divisions, that this is a holy war. They're not getting that from the Egyptian Book of the Dead. They're not getting it from the Keber Nagast, from the Ethiopian Bible. They're not getting it from any other source outside of the word of the Lord that we've grown accustomed to reading. Our choice translation, the KJV, although we do some, comparative translations, but that's where everything is coming from. You're hearing more about the words Armageddon being laid out there. One of the brothers just sent a video, man, about these damn Edomites buried themselves underneath a mountain right now. They said it's about 300 of them, sheltered and bunkered up. They got the damn RVs and trailers up in there and the whole nine, talking about they ready to hunker down for some years if they have to. Everybody and their mama's running around talking about how bad the economy is and how broke they are and how much gas is and how much. Listen, this is how bad it is. I was like cussing myself, cussing to the wind, leaving out of the store as I bought 2 cases of water for $17. Make that make sense. No word of an effing lie. Here I go. I'm back. I flashed back to where I was walking in the parking lot. And I was like, Did I just pay $17 for 2 cases of water? Get the F out of here. Where am I living at? Everybody, you start hearing and seeing some reoccurring and old faces popping up. Oh, shoot. Hey, good to see you again. Yeah, man, stuff is crazy out there. I'm about to start getting back in my word again. Oh, really? Yeah, I think that's probably timely of you. Yeah, because why? The pureness of the Most High's words is coming to pass. Everybody's looking back and they say, man, this is like biblical, man. This stuff is going down. What happened last week? You showed the video, the skies turning red over there in Australia. I mean, all kind of signs and wonders and miraculous things is going on, man. Hawaii underwater. Looked like Katrina in 2005. And they said they were preparing for more storms to come down. Earthquakes in diverse places. That's all because the Lord prophesied and said this was what's going to happen. So let the Most High be true. Getting back to Romans 3 and 4. The Most High forbid, yea, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar. Let me be a liar, you be a liar. Let your favorite teacher be a liar, whoever. Let them be found liars before the Most High will. Number 24 said the Most High is not a man that he should lie. If he says it, it's going to happen. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Like, it don't matter if it don't happen right away. That's when we buy into the microwave society. That's when we buy into the Instapot. We want it right now, quick, fast, cook, on demand. No, we've got to get out of that spirit. Because Yahweh told us, in your patience possess your soul. So that's what we do. We patiently move in this thing. But let every man be a liar, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings and mightest overcome when thou art judged. So we've seen America has been called out and seen and shown on their lies like it ain't no tomorrow. We just saw. We just saw. Maybe you didn't, but if you were paying attention, you see Melania, Trump's wife, calls a press conference out of the blue. I mean, really, who's even talking about her being in the Epstein files and her sleeping with Jeffrey Epstein? Who's even talking about this stuff? She just pops out of nowhere like, I got to make a statement. I got to get out there and I got to clear my name. And if you notice, after she said what she said, they asked Trump if he even knew she was going to do that. He was like, no. So she moved out of order. But what's she trying to do? She's trying to clear her name and clear her quote unquote reputation before something comes out. That's how I perceive that. You seen what happened when Elon got the word? He was like, oh, this guy's I'm out of here. What did she do? She went right behind her husband's back and said, F what he's talking about. I'm going to make sure that my name is clean when all of this really drops. She wasn't out there defending him. She was saying, I want to be clear. Everything's being said about me and these destructive and hurtful lies is not right. And I don't have anything to do with this. But if you remember, 4 or 5 months ago, he was talking about it's a Democrat hoax. We need to bury this and let's move on. Are we still talking about Epstein, that creep? Oh, man, why are we talking about this? Hey, I'm exonerated. We can move on. The cover-up was clear. Then when the files dropped, his name is in there damn near 1 million times. He fires Pam Bondi, who was supposed to be the head of, dropping the dimes on the files. So he's cleaning up his dirty work, firing Pam Bondi, putting what's her name, Cash Patel on notice. Dan Bongino was already back doing his podcast. He's not even part of the FBI anymore. All of the MAGA hats is all turning on him. And now his wife even doubled back and said, yeah, let me clear this up. I'm not with that. And I think that any of the victims, they should come out and they should be heard, and we need to hear what happened. That goes right against what he said. Remember that? When he was like, "No, don't say nothing. We need to shut this down. I'm exonerated. We can move on." Wild. Check this out. Sirach 25, verse 1. "In three things I was beautified and stood up beautiful both before the Most High and men, the unity of brethren, the love of neighbors, a man and a wife that agree together." So there is no beauty in America. There's no beauty in that White House. There's no beauty in his marriage, right? Because why? The Most High said those are the things that make him see beauty. Stood up beautiful both before the Most High and men. The unity of brethren. MAGA is not unified. The Democrats, the Republicans, they going at it like tooth and nail. America's in a complete divide. You got ICE still running rampant in these streets, unaliving our people, accosting them, harassing, detention centers, i.e., camps, FEMA camps being lined up, detention centers holding 80,000 people being built up, alligator Alcatraz, the whole nine. No unity, right? The love of neighbors, that's out the door. As we see the rise of civil unrest and the whole nine, and in race wars. A man and a wife that agree together. Well, clearly they don't agree, man. They ain't in agreement because after she was done, Trump was like, "Hey, you didn't tell me he's gonna go out there and put that out there like that. Hold on." She's like, "I'm sick of it, Donald. I'm sick of your I don't want anything to do with this." All praise to the Most High. So that's what it is, right? Let's get to it, man. I'm gonna get started. Look at this, man. Allies fear they are tied to an erratic U.S. and now have nowhere to turn. Well, guess what? Why is it erratic? Because this is why we know America is spiritual Babylon. What's Babylon? Babel is Babal, meaning confusion. Let's double back. Maybe we get that out the Hebrew, right? And when they say it's erratic, that means that it's in a state of confusion. Here we go. The Hebrew Babal or Babel, meaning confusion by mixing. But what do they call this place? The great melting pot. It's full of confusion. You don't know if a man's a woman or a woman's a man. You got all these pronouns being used: he, they, them, she, that. Us. You dig what I'm saying? Like what you had Ketanji Brown, Supreme Court Justice, sister. Okay, I'm gonna give her. She's a sister. And she was on a congressional hearing a few years back, and they asked her, "What's a woman?" She couldn't even answer. I mean, if that's not confused, I don't know what is. You constantly hearing about all these particular lies and these propositions and these laws that's being laid out there. America's got the NSPM 7. Canada just passed a law outlawing quoting of the Bible, citing the Bible as a book of hate speech. It's going to trickle down here. Don't worry. That's what the NSPM 7 is all set up for. But this is a place of pure confusion. You don't know who's running the quote unquote White House. Now everybody says, "Oh man, the small hats run America. The Donald Trump bows down to the small hat." Where's Kanye when you need him? What was he saying 3-4 years ago? The obvious, parroting everything that he heard from us. And now all of a sudden he's being vindicated. He's just made $30-something million off of his concert that he just had out here at SoFi Stadium, and he's got a quote unquote hit record. Well, now everybody loves him again. All he had to do is go out there and give a fake little apology. That doesn't negate the fact that everything that he said was true. But here we are in a state of confusion. And NATO and the rest of the nations are saying, we're tied to this erratic nation. This goes along with the prophecy in the scenario of the 10 horns hating the horn, turning the back on them, right? Distancing themselves from America. Friendly countries in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East are frustrated with President Trump, but also relying on the U.S. for their security. Yeah, see, because they're still stuck on the nipple. Remember, all the nations, got to come to America to get their fulfillment. This is where their bread is buttered at. See this? Revelation 18:9. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her. That means that they've been able to profiteer off of America. They've been able to exploit America. They've been able to compromise their religion, their customs, and come over here and bask in the witchcraft and the folly and the fornication and idolatry of America and still be accepted. They're going to bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. When America gets destroyed, all the nations that, grew accustomed to slobbing on the poison teat of this whore, America, they're going to have a fit. And now we're seeing them here. They're like, look, we don't like this hoe, but we're relying upon them. They're our biggest import. All the imports come to America. America is a place where all the rappers and everybody, the athletes and everybody talking about them driving foreign cars. You think they give a damn about Mercedes in Germany? They over there riding bikes and buses and trains. All that stuff comes over here. This is where the money gets made. All the nations going and sending their grain and their imports. Look, Argentina just signed that deal with Trump so they can import their beef over here. I mean, America is a place where everybody can get in. And then they also export everything from oil to gas. They got the tech companies over there in China, Apple and all of them set up shop. All of the colonization that America does in Europe and China and Indonesia and everywhere else. You can find a Popeyes, you can find a KFC, McDonald's, Burger King, you can find all that pizza, you find all that stuff worldwide now. That's all of them living deliciously with America, laying in the same bed. America's over there knocking them down at their house. They come over here and get a little piece too. But this is what it is. Crowning a year of disputes with the Trump administration over trade tariffs, support for Ukraine, and the future of Greenland, the Iran war has placed America's friends in Europe, Asia, and Middle East in front of an uneasy dilemma. Their most important ally is acting in ways that they see as erratic and that have already caused hardship and uncertainty. The war has sapped their economies, and even bigger shocks loom if the Strait of Hormuz remains closed, deepening the worldwide energy crisis. Yeah, we've seen multiple countries energy rationing now, from Japan to Australia and others, rationing off energy. I mean, it just shows you how fragile the energy situation is with many of these countries, man. When, some of them had a month's worth of backup energy prepared, weeks. If not, they're in trouble. So we see the frustration that the nations are now showing. This is why we see from Jeremiah 50 and 51 and Isaiah 13 and Revelation 17, amongst many other chapters and scriptures and verses, Obadiah, about how the nations are going to turn on Babylon. The nations are going to grow more frustrated and more upset with their relationship with the mother of harlots. And they're ultimately going to turn on them. We're just patterning and we're just tracking how this is going to take place, and we see the spirit evolving more and more. You got all these nations and countries in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East now looking at America sideways, saying, "Why the f did you start this dang war? You're cutting our lights off. Our resources are now in jeopardy. Our people are starving over here. We're lacking fertilizer. We're not getting the imports that we used to be able to get from the Middle East, so that we can from the Strait of Hormuz, so that we can get the grain and we can get the fertilizer, so we can get the foods." Remember, I showed y'all a few weeks back, over 90+% of food, grain, energy, everything that goes to Saudi Arabia and the countries in the Middle East got to go through that Strait of Hormuz. They are heavily relying upon imports for survival. And now that's in jeopardy. And they looking at America like, what the F are you doing, man? And Trump is running around here saying, don't worry, it's going to be over soon. We've accomplished everything that we needed to accomplish. They want to make a deal. I got it all covered. That was like a month ago. The war has been over. According to him, the war has been over for the last 3-4 weeks. When it started off, they said it's only going to be a few days. They're going to capitulate, bow down, and we're going to have control of the Strait of Hormuz. We're going to take the oil. He's on record even saying he wanted to take the oil, but now he's reneged on that because he said the American people don't want the problems, don't want the war. He was like, but it'd be very good for us. We make a lot of money, if they could take the oil. Matter of fact, I didn't put that one in here, but let me see if I can find a quick headline on that. Look at this. Trump says my favorite thing is to take the oil in Iran. Same way he did Venezuela. Same way he's trying to get down there in Colombia and Ecuador to try to, raid what they got going on. Cuba. He wanted to get at Mexico. See here? Trump backs away from seizing Iran's oil. Covetous, man. What's the scriptures talk about? Micah 2, we read it all the time, man. They covet fields. They take them by violence. Esau always wants what isn't his. Trump backs away from seizing Iran's oil. Unfortunately, the American people would like to see us come home. Look, he said, unfortunately. He wants war. He wants bloodshed. He wants death. He wants to initiate World War III. If it was up to him, he probably would drop a bomb or a nuke over there. But unfortunately, we got primaries, and I love to have my ego stroked, and the American people want us to come home. Well, we obviously see he's not capitulating to that because he's steadily sending more troops up over there, 50,000 in waiting. He said, unfortunately. But what did he say that the whole war was it about the oil? They said no, it wasn't about the oil. It was about liberating the people and them, attacking ships in the Strait of Hormuz. And remember all them lies? I mean, this is good Lord. When you hear about America, man, I mean, the lies just get more and more ridiculous, and everybody sees it. Everybody sees it, even their own people, man. Trump just came out scorching all of his former supporters, calling them low IQ people. No pun intended. Torching Megyn Kelly and who was it? Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, all these guys that was all riding his penal, riding his ride, glazing him. And now once they see the light, they're like, hold on, man, what happened to America first? What happened to the economy? What happened to everything he promised us? What happened to the Epstein files? Why are you starting more wars? Then he's like, oh, well, if you're not with me, you're not MAGA. You never was MAGA anyway. Remember, he kicked him out the hood? He booted him off the hood. He said, man, if you not down with what I'm doing, then you ain't MAGA no more. I'm telling you, man, They're high profiling gangbanging in the White House right now, in the trap house. High profile gangbanging. And they got the nerve to look down on the little savage, knuckle dragging Negro and Hispanic in the streets acting a fool. They doing the same damn thing on a higher level. Jeremiah 50:36. A sword is upon the liars, and they shall dote. A sword is upon, they shall be dismayed. Who's it talking about? Let's look up a little bit more. Verse 35. A sword is upon the Chaldeans, saith Yahweh, and upon the inhabitants of Babylon, and upon her princes, and upon her wise men. This is prophetic. This is talking about not ancient Babylon, but the future Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, America, right? And what is Babylon specializing in? It says a sword is upon the liars. Everybody is seeing it now. They're calling it out. Every little, political pundit from, that used to be down with them, from, like I said, Alex Jones to Tucker Carlson and all them cats, Joe Rogan, all of them now are like, hold on, man, we've been lied to. This isn't right. This guy is not, what we thought he was. Something happened to him. He's possessed. Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens, all of them then spit the Kool-Aid out, and they realized, it was poison. We this golden cup, man, that we've been slobbering over is poison. They spit it out, but now we're seeing heavy lies being told. Heavy lies. We'll focus on one today. What caused this so-called ceasefire to transpire, and what's on the line? Look at it. A sword is upon the liars, and they shall dote. A sword is upon her mighty men, and they shall be dismayed. A sword is upon their horses, and upon their chariots, and upon all the mingled people that are in the midst of her. Well, what's the mingled people? America is known as the melting pot. America is all the mingled people, everybody that's joined unto them, is facing destruction. This is, in essence, talking about warfare that America is going to be involved in. And they shall become as women. A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed. If you notice, a lot of these political commentators and ex-war veterans and specialists are all saying that America is losing the war. Despite what they're telling everybody on the news, and despite what the press conferences and everything that, Agent Orange is jumping out there, they out here even talking about that Iran is the one who broke the ceasefire. Can you imagine? When clearly the small has dropped bombs immediately. And they said, no, that was Iran's fault. Remember the you're going to get a minimum of $2,000 because of the tariffs. How much they made trillions of dollars back in the tariffs, and you're going to get it back as a dividend in your taxes. And anybody get any notice on that? Anybody get that? Put a 7 in the chat, man. If Agent Orange, man, drop you some extra bread on your taxes, like he said he would. Did that happen? No, I don't think so. He said he's the president of peace, and he stopped multiple wars. Meanwhile, he's engaged in multiple wars and bombed multiple countries since he's been in there. And he's only been in there a year and 4 months. Not even a full 4 months. So they got a lot to pay for, man. A lot to pay for. And we talked about this last week. A drought is upon her waters. They say over half the country's in a drought right now. And they shall be dried up, for it is the land of graven images, and they are mad upon their idols. Yeah, this place encourages idol worship. This place encourages fornication, wickedness, witchcraft. They love it. Now, this is how the Lord judges the liars, as they said. The Most High said, man, a sword is going to come upon this place. America is just compiling itself with more and more evidences of why it needs to be removed. from power and from a place of dwelling. Isaiah 13, we'll read 17 down to 19. Now it says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. Who's the Medes? The Medes is the Persians. The Persians and the Medes was a joint empire. This is why we're hearing Iran as being at the center stage of the of this warfare. If you remember, and I'm sure some of y'all have seen it either on your own, but I know I played it at least a year or so ago or more. General Wesley Clark talking about how America had a 7-point plan to take over the Middle East, and they were going to take down multiple nations from Libya to Iraq, Kuwait, and the last one was Persia, or Iran, I should say. So it's always been part of the plan for them to have a final battle. But this is the one who's going to stir up the pot, right? Iran is going to be the one that stirs up the pot because who's aligned with Iran? Iran has China. Iran has North Korea. Iran has Russia. Iran has multiple nations that's getting their back. And now you're even seeing people throughout the world is now raising their eyebrows, looking at America sideways, saying, hold on, you keep talking about these Iranians, man, but it sounds like they just kind of defending themselves. It sounds like they're the ones under attack. You and Israel bombed them, man. Y'all packed them out. You jumped them. You dig what I'm saying? So this is prophecy where you see the Most High, and this is all them, the fall of Babylon. Look, let's jump up real quick. Verse 1, the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. This is the burden. This is the destruction that's going to happen to Babylon. As we know historically, ancient Babylon didn't fall via major warfare. This is the daughter of Babylon that's going to be destroyed. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. You notice, America is the one who's buckling under the economic stress. Iran is not. Even though they was already dealing with, high inflation and, their economy was jacked up, but they're not tripping. This isn't about money for them. This is about money for America. This is about money for Saudi Arabia and the UAE. This is about money for Europe. Why? Because their economies is desperate. Their economies, they're dependent upon them. And guess what? Iran is like, hey, don't nothing move but the money, and ain't nothing moving through the Strait of Hormuz. Now what? They can't be bought off. There's no negotiating, trying to sign up and get new deals, and we'll fatten your pockets and what? No. They're not caring about silver and gold. They can't be bribed. America's always known to, what's Trump's favorite thing? The art of the deal. He thinks he can negotiate. He can do anything. Remember I played that clip maybe a month or two ago? And he was talking about Obama, talking about how Obama's got the Middle East in a disaster because he doesn't know how to negotiate. He's a terrible negotiator and blah, blah, blah. He's going to take us to war with Iran. And if he was president, he'd never have. Another damn lie. Everything that he says and that this administration says about somebody else, they're really looking in the mirror talking about themselves. You know the old saying, don't point fingers at somebody because you always got three more pointing back at you? That's famously how Agent Orange and his administration is carrying out their business. Let's continue. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces. You keep hearing about these, the endless missiles that Iran has, and the interceptor missiles that America's using, and the Iron Dome is all failing. And they just keep coming. They just keep coming with more and more and more hypersonic missiles and everything else. The drones. Yeah, they're covering up the body count with Americans and the injury counts of American soldiers that's happening. I mean, if it's not really, if it was going the way Agent Orange is saying, we've wiped everything out, everything. Why are you recruiting and getting more troops sent over there from the 92nd Airborne, and 5,000 troops got to go over there? You got 50,000 already enlisted, ready to rock over there. If it's going as well as you planned, you should be wrapping things up, man, tying a bow on it and saying, hey, we got everything we need. We're out of here. But they're not. Their bows shall also dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. So it's not going to be, because look, America's already playing dirty. They're going to be quick to try to frame Iran with some madness. America played dirty, and the small hats already played dirty when they bombed multiple schools. Initially, the girls' school bombed the hell out of that, man, killed multiple kids and women. The small hats already been doing it over there, bombing refugee camps and, hijacking the food truck supplies that was supposed to be going into Palestine and all of that. They was already playing dirty. So when Iran does it, they're going to say, oh, the savages. See, this is what they do in Islam. They don't care. They're cutting heads. Look, man. Eye for eye, tooth for a tooth. But check this out. The scripture said that when Esau came over here, not over here, but when Esau seized us, he said he shall not show favor to the old nor to the young. In Deuteronomy 28. So what are we talking about? So don't cry when they not sparing. Verse 19, and Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, because what? All the kings of the earth get their glory from America. They're getting their income. What? The whole earth is running off of a petrodollar. The earth, the earth, the dollar is the world's reserve currency. They got everybody eating GMOs and you name it. Running around in third world countries, man, poking them up with polio vaccines and all kind of damn poison. They're doing everything. And Babylon, the glory of the kingdom, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. That's his ultimate judgment. That's what we just read in Revelation 18, where it said the nation is going to bewail her smoking. Some of y'all may have caught up, some of y'all may not have, but a couple of weeks ago, was it last week? Yeah, last week. I did on our Feed the Lions on Thursday. I have replayed a lesson in history and evidence of archaeology findings regarding Sodom and Gomorrah, and how true evidence through the archaeology has been found that place still has the looks and the remains of it as if it got hit by 1,000 atomic bombs. That's the fire and the brimstone that the Most High rained down on that corrupt city. And the same thing is going to happen to America. Thus saith the Lord. Let's continue. So the allies are all turning on America. They're all like, man, you got us in some stuff, man. We don't like this. Look, Trump is preparing U.S. military if talks fail, proclaims Iran has no cards as Tehran demands anti-IDF attacks on Lebanon. So look, Agent Orange, he's sending J.D. Vance over there, Steve Witkoff, and Kushner and the rest of the Demon Squad to flail their forked tongues with Iranian officials tomorrow. And first they said J.D. Vance was scared to go. I think they talked him into going, but I had a video. Let me see. Did I get it? I might not. I don't think I put it in this particular episode right now. But there's a article and a video where Agent Orange is saying, "Yeah, we're going to send over the negotiating team. Steve Witkoff and Kushner's going to be there along with a couple of other officials. He was like, JD's supposed to go, but he's having some thoughts about security concerns, so I don't know if he's going to make it. But you talking about trying to initiate peace? You're the vice president, and you scared to go over there and go talk to them. And now Agent Orange is talking about if it fails. Hold on, let me see if I can find that real quick. Yeah, here you go. Trump says Vance may not attend peace talks in Pakistan over safety concerns. He's a straight hoe. A bit. You fill in the rest. Straight bit. How you supposed to be the second in command and the quote unquote leader of the free world, most powerful nation on the earth, and you scared to go over there and go talk to your quote unquote enemies if you're talking about peace? He's a hoe, man. But that's par for the course. If you're over there knocking them down and whipping ass, you would think the Iranians would be like, man, don't nobody do nothing, man. We want this peace talk, man. If anybody slips, anybody does anything to these white folks, man, we taking you out. You would think Iran would be like that scared. He's scared to go over there. And then Agent Orange doubles down and says, if the talks fail, well, you already initiating a failure by not even sending the damn vice president over there. Now that was us a couple of days ago. I don't know if they pumped him up and told him, man, here, take a hit of this, sniff this, and get on over there and get some liquid courage in you, or what. But we know that this so-called 10-point plan, they ain't abiding by that, man. At all. So look at this. Iran makes clear Lebanon fighting must end or else Pakistan talks are meaningless as a delegation arrives in, quote, lockdown Pakistan. The speculation abounds related to ongoing Pentagon transport flights in the Mideast region. Trump threatens more military action if Iran doesn't comply. It says Iran has no cards. Also, as Israel-Lebanon talks scheduled in Washington next week, U.S. delegation headed by Vance en route to Islamabad. But Parliament Speaker makes a fresh demands on Lebanon. So, they're constantly double down into saying what they want, what they won't accept, what they will do, what they won't do. And now Trump is like, man, if the talks fail, we're lighting you up. Well, look, they need a little time to regroup, to arm up, get the troops that they sent over there, get their protocols in order. Because it doesn't sound like they're ready to pause anything. They sending more troops and more damn missiles and stuff over there, asking for more money and a bigger budget to build more bombs. That don't sound like peace talk to me. Look at this. China is fueling Iran's ballistic missiles. So in the spirit of Revelation 16, where it said the kings of the East are going to be coming forward to make war. Well, yeah, you see China joining in the fray, helping out Iran. Iran is one of the kings of the East, right along with China, right along with North Korea, right along with Pakistan, India. All the players are here. China fueling Iran's ballistic missiles. Sanctioned vessels carrying enough chemicals to produce hundreds of projectiles travel from Chinese to Iranian ports. So we see, if anybody's wondering, well, when is China going to get involved with? China's already involved. They don't have to bomb anything. They just helping supply the fuel and getting Iran's ballistic missiles cracking. Why? And in return, China's getting that oil. China's getting that energy flowing through them ports. That's the relationship they got going on. That's part of the BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and Iran also is part of the BRICS now. Look at this. Iran International in English. Iran uses North Korean missile tech against U.S. Israel exports, tells Fox. So North Korea, little bomb man, as Agent Orange likes to call him, is helping Iran. A Fox News digital report cited missile expert Bruce Bechtold as saying that some Iranian missiles used against U.S. and Israeli targets are either North Korean systems or based on North Korean designs. He said the missile fired at Diego Garcia was Musadan, adding that Iran purchased 19 of these missiles in 2005. He also described Iran's Shahab 3 as almost an exact copy of North Korea's No-Dong. I mean, good, these names. Pause. Look, they're tooling up and they've got these ballistic missiles galore. They've got technology that they're getting from China and North Korea. America is running low on interceptor missiles. They're running low on munitions. They got the USS Henry Ford got toilets backed up and all kind of damn corrosion happening in the damn ship. America's an embarrassment, man. Everybody's saying it's been like a paper tiger. And that's all the nations need to see is the bully get popped and socked in the mouth and get phased a little bit. Now the nations is like, oh, he's not as bad as we thought he was. He's not as hard as we thought he was. Look at little Iran. Now, mind you, Iran's not little. You know, they got 90 million people over there. But the way that America's reputation has been laid out, the way that the shielding and the protection from the Most High has had on this place due to the children of Israel being here, don't get it twisted. The Most High is not showing favor to America because the so-called white man loves Yahweh. We also know historically, any nation that had the children of Israel in captivity was the blessed nation, was the nation that led, that was on top of the earth. Look at Egypt, look at Assyria, look at the Persians and the Medes, look at the Greeks, look at the Romans, look at Babylon. Hell, look at America. Wherever the children of Israel lay their heads and have been brought into bondage and captivity, that nation is guaranteed to be on top. So we see the union that's happening. We see the affiliates who's aligning themselves with America. China, North Korea, right? Continuing on. Russian colonel issues a 10-day nuclear strike warning. The time has come. Uh-oh. The time has come. Uh-oh. So now nuke talk coming out of Russia. Russian colonel says a 10-day nuclear strike warning. The time has come. Kremlin TV war pundit Colonel Mikhail Kodoronak, whatever that name is, made the chilling threat after admitting the war in Ukraine, quote, isn't solvable with conventional weapons and called for the use of nuclear arms instead. Look at that. Here they are talking about we've done all that we can do in Ukraine right now. They're going on what, like 3 years now of war? And now you've got this particular war pundit on TV. Now, mind you, he's a colonel in the Russian army. I don't know if he's retired or what, but he's a pundit on TV, same way that Keith Hegseth, Dragon Breath, used to be on Fox News, and now he's the head of the Department of War. You get all these little ex-military pundits, and they said he was kind of like a mid-level guy in the Army Reserves. Like, he wasn't really even active like that. But anyway, the fact that you've got either an active or a retired Russian colonel saying, hey, and this is sanctioned by Russian TV, they don't play around over there. Freedom of speech is not free over there. Nothing is said without the approval of Mother Russia and the government. So they're not going to let him get out there and say this unless it was sanctioned and okay by Putin and the rest of the military, laying out this warning. Kremlin TV war pundit Colonel Mikhail Kodoronak, advocate for switching to nuclear weapons in the conflict and issuing a deadline to Ukraine, after which Russia would unleash nuclear bombs. I mean, what other book historically are we talking about that is mentioning fervent heat, flesh melting off bodies, a digital what a beast system that's going to force everybody into a changed lifestyle of buying it. You can't buy or sell. They're going to dominate with a one world religion, a false prophet. I mean, come on, man. The same nation is going to take the children of Israel and captive and rule over them with hard bondage and rigor, and the children of Israel and the children of Judah is going to be oppressed together in this place. And here they are talking about nuclear war and bombs being active within 10 days. Now, I'm pretty sure this is a bluff, or he's just suggesting this, putting it out there in the atmosphere. But at the same time, the fact that this is even a real conversation that's being had on national broadcast media in Russia, and the government said it's okay, don't censor him, that should tell us something. Ukrainian leadership will be faced with the question of whether the country will be left in complete ruins or we move to some kind of peace agreement. He said the task isn't solvable with conventional weapons, the ones we have, so perhaps we should switch to special nuclear weapons and end this conflict within 10 days or by May 1st. Yeah, May 1st, what is that, May Day for them? I forgot what historically that means for them, but that's like a folly day for them. That's like their Independence Day, I think. What is May Day for the Russians? It's the reason why he said May 1st. Yeah. Why do Russians adore May 1st so much? It's the International Workers' Day. International Workers' Day, also known as the Day of Spring and Labor, which commemorates the labor movement and workers' rights. Historically, it originated from the Haymarket. Maybe I don't know what that's supposed to, but he's throwing that out there about Labor Day or whatever. But anyway, the fact that he's even talking about nukes, man, should be telling us something. 10 years ago today, Trump promised to eliminate the national debt. Instead, it has doubled. So another lie. 10 years ago, right? So they're dating him back to 2016 when he first had his first run. They let him double back, and he's made it even worse. And of course, he's going to say, oh, it's the Democrats. It's because of slow Biden. They started it. No. You've had well over a year to get things in motion. You had Doge, you saved so-called saved up all this money and fired a bunch of people. You had the tariffs, all that. Oh, well, it's not my fault. The Supreme Court overturned it. Well, you appointed them. Oh, the inflation is down. Everything's good. What? How would he know, man? When was the last time you think him and Melania was at a grocery store? I mean, he probably has no idea outside of what reports get sent to him regarding how much gas is. When's the last time you think he was at a pump? It's probably been decades since he pumped his own gas. He's so disconnected from reality, man. It's not even funny. Trump's ridiculous, grandiose promise tells us something about the federal government's fiscal affairs and the president's approach to policy. 10 years ago today, Donald Trump said he would pay off the national debt in the span of just 8 years. Same way, he said that when he becomes president, he's going to end the Ukraine-Russia conflict within 24 hours. Both presidents respect him highly. They're going to do what he says. Give me 24 hours, I'll end it. We're 3 years into this war now. I mean, let's knock it off. That did not happen. Instead, the gross national debt has doubled since that day. So he can't say, oh, it was slow Biden. Look, man, Slow Biden had a 4-year run. He tore stuff up, no question. But within them 10 years, he's had 5 years and some months. Slow Biden had 4. So let's knock it off. He's had control of the economy more than Slow Biden has in the last 10 years. That did not happen. Instead, the gross national debt has doubled since that day, from about $19 trillion to over $39 trillion. And Uncle Sam is going to get on your butt about paying him back some taxes. Look who's really got the debt. I mean, he's got no problem sending around tow trucks to scoop up cars with, that's delinquent on their bills, repossession. Got no problems slapping eviction notices on your doors or foreclosure notices on homes, saying you can't pay. You got no problem walking you down the line to the bankruptcy courts, saying you can't take care of your bills, you're irresponsible. And this guy got $39 trillion of debt sitting sitting up. And he's running out of options. He can't run back to the dang Federal Reserve and ask for them to print up some money. We need a loan, print us up some more money. They like, inflation is already too high, man. You're going to destroy yourself. Give me the money. I need it. No, we can't print right now. We're lowering the interest rates. Oh, we're going to increase the rates. We got to balance this thing out. We can't let you destroy it. Okay, well, I'm going to sell bonds to the nations. I'm going to sell our debts to them. They'll invest in the debt because we're going to pay them back with interest. The nations is like, we're not buying no more of your debt. That's out. We're not paying your bills no more. See, that's didn't what's the name of that group? The Destiny Child. Didn't they have that song, Can You Pay My Bills? That's the great whore. They go to the nations, man, and say, man, buy our debt. Can you pay my bills? Can you pay my bills? And the nations is like, hell no. We're not investing that. That's a lost cause, man. We've been flushing our money down the toilet with you. And all you keep doing is saying that, well, I promise I'll pay you back. For my old school folks, man, I remember Winky from Popeye. Was that his name? Winky? We always used to say, I'll pay you Tuesday if you give me a hamburger today. Tuesday come around, Winky still broke. That's America, man. $39 trillion. The gap between Trump's outlandish promise and the brutal fiscal reality of the past decade is not just political gotcha. It's also an apt illustration of how far and how fast the debt has spiraled. And it's a painful reminder of a missed opportunity that Americans will be facing for a long, long time. Wimpy. All right, there y'all go. I was off. What I call him? Dink. Wimpy. That's right. Wimpy. I'll pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. Unbelievable. The bill for these 10 years of fiscal profligacy will be coming due long after Trump has finally departed from the political scene. Let's check this out.
Has continued to attack Lebanon, saying it is not part of this ceasefire, despite your Prime Minister, Sharif, saying it is. Can you clarify what the parties of this war have agreed to there?
So this is one of the prime ministers over there in Pakistan. He's talking about, they're asking him on CNN. They said, well, we've been hearing about what's happening with the war. I mean, the ceasefire. Israel continues to bomb. Can you clarify with us whether or not the ceasefire included Lebanon or not? Let's see what he says. So we're going to get it from the horse's mouth.
has continued to attack Lebanon, saying it is not part of this ceasefire, despite your Prime Minister, Sharif, saying it is. Can you clarify what the parties of this war have agreed to there? And are you concerned Israel could derail the broader ceasefire agreement at this point?
Well, as the description and understanding has come from the highest level in Pakistan, so it could not have been more authentic in terms of the offer made by the Prime Minister and accepted by the two conflicting parties of affording a ceasefire for 2 weeks. So it could not have been more authentic, and the understandings associated with it could not have been more true. But of course,
they said it could not have been more authentic or more true than exactly what they put out there, that Lebanon was included in the ceasefire. Let's continue.
This is a situation of a ceasefire that could be disrupted, and there have been instances in the past where ceasefires have been disrupted. So we perhaps would all want for the best to happen.
So you're confirming that, as far as the Prime Minister is concerned, that Lebanon is included in this ceasefire, despite what we've heard from the Prime Minister's office in Israel today?
Well, as Pakistan is a faithful facilitator, I think the understandings coming from the highest level in Pakistan need to be accorded primacy and certainly authenticity.
See, he kind of, filibustered a bit when he said they need to be, respected with all the authenticity because we're faithful partners in this whole thing. He should have said, that's exactly right. Yes, they were included. I don't know why America and Israel saying what they're saying outside of them being devils. There you go. Straight post from the Pakistan Prime Minister. With the greatest humility, I am pleased to announce that the This is I think this is the president of Iran. Hold on. I think Shabazz Sharif. I don't want to get it twisted. Okay, no, he's Pakistan, Prime Minister of Pakistan. That's right. I said it right the first time. So he pops out, right? Puts it on X. 12.9, almost 13 million views. He tags Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Senator Rubio, Steve Witkoff. Okay. They all seen this. With the greatest humility, I am pleased to announce that the Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States of America, along with their allies, have agreed to an immediate ceasefire everywhere, including Lebanon and elsewhere, effective immediately. After they made the deal, he goes public, goes online and says, hey, look what we did. Specifically highlighting that Lebanon was included in the deal and tagged Trump, Vance, Rubio, Witkoff, all of them was in on it. They all heard it and understood what the terms were. Small hats go over there, man, commit more bombings and unalivings, and they double back and say, they wasn't part of the deal. We didn't agree to that. Always lying. I warmly welcome the sagacious gesture and extend deepest gratitude to the leadership of both the countries and invite their delegations to Islamabad on Friday, the 10th of April, to further negotiate for a conclusive agreement to settle all disputes. Both parties have displayed remarkable wisdom and understanding and have remained constructively engaged in furthering the cause of peace and stability. We earnestly hope that the Islamabad talks succeed in achieving sustainable peace and wish to share more good news in the coming days. Imagine that. And they got tagged in it. How come, Trump is so fast to jump on Truth Social and lay out all these damn trolling posts? Why didn't he jump out and say, hold on, Shabazz? That's not true. Take that post down. You need to correct that. It's not included. Why didn't they correct it? Because they know damn well they was lying, man. Here you go. This scary clown. Oh, come on. Hold on. Where's the video? Why is it not playing? Okay,
First of all, I actually think, and there's a lot of bad faith negotiation and a lot of bad faith, propaganda going on.
No, hold on. He's already speaking down on the peace talks. He's already speaking down on any negotiating. He said everything's being done in bad faith. Bad faith on whose part, though? JD? Huh? Bad faith? Okay, hold on.
First of all, I actually think, and there's a lot of bad faith negotiation and a lot of bad faith.
We're not talking to you right now. You hold on. You hold on. See, the devil just told on himself, man. He said, hey, we're talking about a lot of bad faith negotiating, a lot of bad faith talk. Well, guess what? Yeah. Here's why. Sirach 12:10. Never trust thine enemy. That's bad faith. You cannot trade. You can't go into no agreement with this cat, man. He does not hold his word. Ask Native Americans who had over 300 peace treaties and covenants broken by him. Every one of them. Never trust thy enemy, for as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Enough said. Bad faith negotiation. Bad faith. Yeah, bad faith on who though? You're the one dealing snake-like. You're the one who's putting out information that is not credible. You're the one covering your tracks with more lies. Proverbs 26:25. When he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. Y'all know that? I'm not done with you, JD. Because you punked out and was scared to go over there and holler at them because you didn't want to get called out on your lies. Look, hold on. Let me play his full little statement. And I'm gonna roast him up a little bit more, man. I'm not done cooking.
First of all, I actually think, and there's a lot of bad faith negotiation and a lot of bad faith, propaganda going on. I think this comes from a legitimate misunderstanding. I think the Iranians thought that the ceasefire included Lebanon, and it just didn't. We never made that.
Now, he said the Iranians believe it. So, I see what you're saying, Oscar Rob, but he's saying it wasn't the Pakistanians who had the misunderstanding. And yeah, I believe that they're not, a credible, powerhouse that anybody. Now, don't get me wrong, they're a nuclear power, but nobody's fearing Pakistan like that. So, for them to try to pull everybody into their corner and say, look, both of y'all straighten it up or get out of here, they ain't got the power like that. But we do know that this demon right here is lying. Now, he's double back saying, oh, it's in bad faith. Bad faith. Yeah, okay, we know dealing with you is in bad faith, but people do it anyway.
That the ceasefire included Lebanon, and it just didn't. We never made that promise. We never indicated that was going to be the case. What we said is that the ceasefire would be focused on Iran, and the ceasefire would be focused on America's allies. Look, if Iran wants to let this negotiation fall apart in a conflict where they were getting hammered over Lebanon, which has nothing to do with them, and which the United States never once said was part of the ceasefire, that's ultimately their choice. We think.
So this is how you know he's speaking with forked tongue. Look, he's saying it's about America and its allies. So you don't think Iran said, well, hold on. We've got allies over here as well, and we want the fighting to cease over there. They've got Hezbollah stashed over there in Lebanon. They got them stashed in Yemen. They got them stashed all over the place. You don't think they said, well, you looking out for your homies, but we got to look out for ours too. It would only make sense. Now, America can't be the only ones going in there saying, well, we want to cease fire. We want to stop with just us and our allies, and we'll just leave you alone. But everybody else is fair game. You would think they'd be like, no, hold on. What about our allies? Israel is over there going ham on them. Like, can we ease up off of that? I'm pretty sure that that's probably how it went down, but America probably said, no deal. Or, like I said deal and then went back on it. Or America intended to hold on to their end of the bargain, but the small hat said, F that. Because they don't want peace anyway.
I think that would be dumb, but that's their choice.
You know, the small hats is over there worried about the Ben Gurion project. They're worried about the Greater Israel project. They want to expand. They want to get more. They ain't worried about no damn ceasefire. They always are spoiling stuff. War crimes galore has been committed by them.
First of
Now look at this. Did Israel attack Lebanon to spoil Iran war ceasefire as soon as it began? I mean, is that a rhetorical question or what? What do y'all think? You think they did it in good faith? I mean, was they still bombing away as business as normal, or did it just ironically they let all hell break loose for 10 minutes the day after they make a ceasefire? How come we didn't hear about those type of attacks happening days before or weeks before? I mean, I'm sure they've been having some skirmishes, but not the type of headline attacks that we got the day after. Israel claims attacks on densely populated residential areas that killed more than 200 people were aimed at Hezbollah members. So I guess the Hezbollah members is all stashed away in the apartment buildings and in the cities and everywhere else. We know that the small hats, they're bombing in good faith, man. They're really, trying to get their targets. They wouldn't kill any innocent women or children, would they? No, not them. They play fair all the time, right? Believe that if you want to. Continue it on. Look. Come on. What's up with my system, man? It's moving slow. Yeah, this thing is tripping. Hold on. Yeah, this thing. Okay. Slacky, y'all. Had a little issue. Here we go. But look at this. Iran's ceasefire allows for Netanyahu's corruption trial to finally resume. So at the same time, this demon is on trial for corruption. Remember, he had a warrant out for his arrest. They finally caught up with him. He's facing his charges. However, this should let you know too, all the time when he got to face some stuff, bombings occur. They always pause everything, and then he ends up skating and back in everybody's faces, calling shots and telling Trump, get on your knees. So I put this out here just to kind of show that do not be surprised if we hear or see some wild escalations in bombings or wars or some scandal go down with the small hats because he's on trial. It's always a distraction. It's always a Hegelian dialectic with him. Never let a good crisis go to waste. Problem, reaction, solution. Israel is lifting its state of emergency given that the Iranian ceasefire appears to be holding, and with that, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu long-running corruption trial will resume in the coming days, according to Reuters. With the lifting of the state of emergency and the return of the judicial system to work, hearings will resume as usual, a statement from the Israeli court confirms. So, he's on trial. They ain't finna let him get dusted off in the midst of the war and his quote-unquote leadership and his influence on all the nations in the world, in particular America. Something's going to give in order to thwart this and prolong this trial. It's been years, man. They always say this is what he pulled. He pulls this all the time. From October 7th on, it's been, war jumping up. We just got hit. We got bombed. We got to defend ourselves. We can't go to trial right now. I'm actively out here trying to save my people. So don't be surprised. They said 2 weeks. With him being on trial, I expect some most stuff to jump off. Who knows when? Within days, within a week, who knows? But it's always something goes down. They're not going to have no peace so that he can be finally, put on trial for his corruption, and he faces his judgment. They're not going to let that go down. Some distraction is going to happen. That's my feeling. I'm going on record with it. If it happens, we'll see. Trump team explores punishment for NATO countries that didn't support Iran in the war. See? Now, hold on, man. Speaking of the, I meant to get on JD, didn't I? Didn't I say I was going to get on him some more? Come on, what is going on here? Lucky, y'all. There's something. Computer, man. Let me double back. I said I was gonna get on JD and his line, but it just didn't happen. We didn't have an agreement. Psalm 58:3, the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Man, the so-called white man, he cannot help himself. He has to lie. It's in his DNA. It's how he's always been able to get along and finagle and finesse his way in life. You know, it just is what it is. Isaiah 44. We're gonna read 24 and let's start at verse 23. Sing, O ye heavens, for the Most High Yahweh have done it. Shout, ye lower parts of the earth. Break forth into singing, ye mountains, O forests, and every tree therein. For Yahweh have redeemed Jacob and glorified himself in Israel. So the glory is going to be given only through Israel. The Most High will be glorified in Israel. Forget the nations, man. Stop. I'm going to leave that alone. Our people just love the nation so much. But the Most High said that redemption is coming to Jacob. He's going to be glorified in Israel. Not in some melting pot of nations, not in whosoever believeth, not in, no, in Israel. Verse 24, thus saith Yahweh, thy Redeemer, and he that formed thee from the womb. I am Yahweh that maketh all things, that stretcheth forth the heavens alone, that spreadeth abroad the earth by myself, that frustrateth the tokens of the liars. The Most High is constantly going to frustrate the tokens. These are the signs, these are the wonders, these are the covenants, these are the words that the so-called white man has put out there, man. Notice he said that a sword is coming upon the liars. He's going to frustrate the tokens of the liars. Man, everybody is seeing how America is flat, all over the place, dazed and confused. Can't tell one lie without telling another lie, losing themselves in their own lie. The Most High said he's going to frustrate the tokens of the lies and make his diviners mad, that turneth the wise man backwards. So yeah, everything that the so-called white man has been boasting about, especially Trump, boasting about how great the military is. And don't get me wrong, America got some bad boys and got some bad arsenals. They got some stuff. Because remember, Esau has been blessed with the sword. By the sword shalt thou live. He's got it, right? But his diviners, meaning, the witches and the warlocks that he chooses to, to worship and to seek advice and counsel from, and Satan and, his scientists, his economists and all of his futurists and transhumanists that out here, they're all going mad. They're all going crazy. They're all losing their minds. They're all concerned about the future of America. Turning the wise men backward and making their knowledge foolish. That's how the Most High is ultimately going to have them all look foolish. Remember, the Most High said the wisdom of this world is foolishness with God. Everything that he's holding on to is nothing but pure foolishness, bro. Their inward thoughts is that their houses will continue forever. The Most High said, "You fool. I'm the only thing that's forever." Proverbs 12:22. Lying lips are an abomination to Yahweh, but they that deal truly are his delight. That's how the Lord deals, right? This is why we're stacking up the charges against the so-called white man in America. They've committed Every man of abomination just by lies alone. We always talk about the foods. We always talk about the GMOs. We always talk about, how and he operates through abominations, eating blood and the bloodletting and the child sacrifices and the pedophilia, the PDF files that's all part of the program. But even the way that he lives and moves via lying is an abomination to him. That's still punishable by death by the Most High. What did the Most High say in Leviticus 20:13? If a man lie with man like it should be with a woman, they both have committed an abomination. They both shall surely be put to death. When one commits an abomination, a highly detestable act in the eyes of the Lord is like, I got to destroy that. So put it all together. Proverbs 13:5, a righteous man hateth lying, but a wicked man is loathsome and cometh to shame. Yeah, there you have it. So, we know that we're not being told factual evidence regarding this conflict, right? Hold on, what is going on here? When Agent Orange and his constituents is out there talking about they want the press to tell the story of the war how they see it, we covered that already, then you should know they're trying to control the narrative and they're putting things out there that they want everybody to believe, even if it's not true. So doubling back, you see here, the Trump team explores punishment for NATO countries that didn't support Iran in the war. So they're looking to double back on their allies, their NATO partners, and saying, well, because you didn't want to jump in and help us when we decided to ignite this war, then we're going to have some consequences for you. So this is just more evidences on how the 10 horns is going to have problems. We've seen them earlier. They're already looking like, man, America's erratic. This place is out of control. We're having buyer's remorse because we bought into everything we've been aligning ourselves with America and living deliciously with her. Now, all of a sudden, when we decide to stand up for ourselves and say, no, we don't want to deal with what you've been doing, America said, oh, really? Okay. There's consequences for that, right? If you don't do as I say, if you don't ride with me, I'm going to deal with you. Remember when Trump told him last week, he said, man, go get your own oil. I'm not going to be the one constantly getting it for you, funneling it over there to you, brokering deals and helping you out. Europe, UK, Germany, etc. See what it's like without me. The White House is considering a plan to punish some members of the NATO alliance that President Trump thinks were unhelpful to the U.S. and Israel during the Iran war, according to administration officials. France came out and said, man, well, you on your own, man. Australia, they're like, well, we don't want no parts of this. So what's America doing? Okay, well, fine. I'm not going to help you get no oil and energy. Deal with it. That's just one thing. They've been already threatening to back out of NATO. So there you have it, man. If you don't live by the rules of the house of the matter, man, he's gonna punish all the hoes. Bottom line, you don't do what the pimp says, man, there's punishments. Look at this. With Iran setting limits, Strait of Hormuz remains thorny politically. Even after a ceasefire, Iran is keeping a chokehold on the traffic, forcing countries to cut deals that could put them at odds with the U.S. So remember, Trump was saying, open up the strait immediately, and blah, 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 blah. Iran said, well, man, hold on. You ain't going to tell us how to run our business. We'll have a ceasefire for 2 weeks, and we'll systematically open the strait to who we want to. The Iranians are willing to negotiate with certain countries to secure voyages, but only on a case-by-case basis. So it is not open. And Trump was fuming after this. He said, that's not the deal that we agreed to. I mean, already there's schisms and there's already problems. We seen through J.D. Vance talking about we didn't agree about Lebanon. Trump saying we didn't agree about the strait. It's supposed to be wide open again for 2 weeks. Now you're talking about it's only open to who you want. Hey, How confident are y'all that the ceasefire is going to be extended after 2 weeks and they're going to get this thing figured out and we're going to get life back to normal? How confident are you? If you honestly you feel like, hey man, there's a shot, man. I got faith in Agent Orange, man. I got faith that this ain't the beginnings of the end. You know, as life as we know it. It's okay. You can put 3 in the chat. You're entitled to your discernment and your opinion. While we do that though, let me let good old Putin say that.
Más campero por menos dinero. Pollo Campero te da más por menos.
All right, now some breaking news that has come in from Moscow, where Russia has issued a stark warning alleging that the European Union is quietly exploring the development of its own nuclear weapons capabilities. Moscow said that this move will destabilize global security. And according to Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service, confidential discussions are underway within EU institutions to
I know it's hard to understand Elon, you know, that damn accent, boy. Russia's popping out saying they got information that Germany has the information and technology to build a nuke within 30 days. That's against nuclear doctrine. That's against their peace establishments or what have you. And Russia's like, hold on, you trying to catch up? You ain't even supposed to have no nukes. You know, because after World War II, man, they spanked Germany and they pretty much neutered them until they could have just the basics of weapons and defense. So now Germany's over here sneaking, saying, the hell no, everybody else getting nukes, man. We want in too. And Russia's like, hold on, remember, we spanked you and told you no. You cannot have this. We can't trust this in your hands no more. Russia alleges secret EU nuclear plans, Russia, UK, and France. Russia says the UK and France will continue to coordinate their nuclear doctrine.
Says the feasibility of building a nuclear arsenal. The Moscow says that despite public claims, such measures are purely defensive. And Moscow has argued that this signals a dangerous shift away from long-standing non-proliferation commitments. The statement also singles out Germany, claiming its scientific infrastructure could rapidly produce weapons-grade materials. Russian intelligence has alleged that German laboratories could, of course, obtain sufficient plutonium for a nuclear device within a span of a month, while enriched...
Putin got a little bop to his walk. You see how he be walking? You see how he be strolling? You got a little bop in that walk.
It's alleged that German laboratories could, of course, obtain sufficient plutonium for a nuclear device within a span of a month, while enriched uranium could be produced in as little as a week.
So, in other words, man, you hear the 10 horns over there in Europe, the European Union, by the military arm of NATO is over here saying we got to up our game with these nukes. Because what? They know Russia's got them. They know North Korea's got them. They know China's got them. They know Pakistan's got them. Iran on the low may have them. And all eyes point to Europe as a space where the bombs is going to get dropped and high military activity is going to be happening. That's one of the, that's like I think the third or the fourth trumpet in Revelation 9 tell you that the bottomless pit is going to get active. Paraphrase. I don't want to go too deep into that right now, but when you look at Revelation 9, it says, and the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit as the smoke of a great furnace. The bottomless pit is Europe. The fifth angel is going to open up the destructions or portions of Europe. When it says there arose a smoke out of the pit as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. That's because of the destruction that happens, the fallout, the smoke, covering up the dust particles, the nuclear part, everything that's going to be blocking out the sun is from the soot. Everything that's going to be happening over there in Europe. Europe is that bottom pit. It's acknowledging that there's going to be destruction that happens over in Europe as well, right? So the fact that we're seeing the nuclear armaments being built up by some of these European nations to defend themselves is because of the threat of nuclear warfare hitting them. Putin has threatened Great Britain, France, Germany multiple times. He said, man, he could take France out with one bomb. The whole country. I mean, France ain't no bigger than like the Midwest of America. You can fit France in America, in the Midwest, the UK, etc. Right? So, how's that working out for here? Here they are talking about ceasefires and peace deals and all this other stuff, but at the same time, they are automatically registering young men for the draft effective December. You know, when they turn 18, you used to, get them notices in the mail telling you got to register, for the draft and blah, blah, blah. And, I know as a kid, I never did that. When I was 18, I don't even remember getting no notices in the mail. I don't know. But they come out. I know in some states, when you get a driver's license, they automatically register you for the draft. Your son is just turned 18 or whatever, and he went to go get his driver's license, they automatically taking that. One of the brothers told me they did that with his son. He's down south. So I know some areas they was already doing it, but they were still kind of optional. Like they would send you the information in the mail, tell you, it's your duty if you don't, jail time and all this other stuff. Now they even taking that option out. Eligible U.S. men will be automatically registered for military draft pool beginning in December. So family, y'all got kids 18 to 25, man, they're already in the system. Social Security number's already there. They already got AI and if they're employed, IRS, they all submitting all the information, man. They automatically are putting them in the draft. So let's do the math, man. America, this same demon right here, he asked for $200 billion, right, to increase military spending so they can get some more weapons on deck. They just asked for $1.7 trillion for defense spending carrying over into 2027. Now they're shipping more troops over there to the Middle East. Now they're saying we have to have an automatic draft. We can't afford to not have all hands on deck the way this thing is going. The writing is on the wall. Now, my sons haven't reached the threshold yet. So I'm going to be quiet. But if you have children in this age range, you got to start thinking about what and how you want to proceed in this country. Because there's no question America's going to war and into a major conflict. How long before, they have to rely on the draft? Remember back in Vietnam, they had the draft. Muhammad Ali said, man, I ain't fighting your war. They had to lock him up. Agent Orange draft dodged, I think they said 5 times. One time they said something was wrong with his feet. The other 3 or 4 times he got a educational pass. That's why they on his ass too, because they said he's a draft dodger. He had a crooked toenail And they said, "Oh, my toe, I can't go." Gave him a pass, and his butt got into school. Every time I drive came around, he was like, I'm studying. Can't go. I'm working on getting more money from my dad so I can invest. I can't go to war." So this is problematic, man. United States will automatically register eligible men aged 18 to 25 for a military draft pool beginning in December. The rule change was submitted by the Selective Service System, which maintains a database of Americans who would be able to serve in the military. And they even extending the age for the draft. And cats that has already been retired or out the draft. Like I forgot what the new age is. I think they trying to call cats up into their early 40s or something like that. I might be off on that, but I know they extended the age. This statutory change transfers responsibility for registration from the individual men to SSS through integration with federal data sources, the agency's website said. So now you see it's 42 co-op. There you go. We're looking at, I knew it was in the 40s. So now you see why Palantir plays such a role in the surveillance, the monitoring, the record keeping, Oracle. They're trying to make sure that nobody escapes, whether it's through the persecution of so-called domestic terrorism, or when they need the mighty men of Babylon to come fight, they want to make sure they got all hands on deck. But look, speaking of that, the Most High already put the spirit out there. Imagine how many people are going to rebel against this. They're already rebelling right now, saying, "I ain't dying for Israel. I ain't fighting for that. I don't want to be involved in this war. Get me out of here. This is a treat. This is war crimes, and men are ready to commit treason against the country and sedition because they don't agree with this war." Imagine when they start telling people, "Man, you drafted." People gonna rebel and break loose and say, "Hell no." They're already doing it now. Jeremiah 51:30, the mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holes. Their might have failed. They have become as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken. So, look, if that's the spirit that's happening within Babylon, now imagine once the it hits the fan and they start saying draft in effect. All y'all youngsters, man, you getting pulled in whether you like it or not. There's gonna be so many, man. The jails can't hold. That's why they getting all these damn detention centers too. And the FEMA camp is lined up because there's gonna be plenty of men that gonna say, "Hell no, I ain't fighting, man. Lock me up." So that's another state of affairs that we got to pay attention to. Look at this. Trump posts about, quote, the world's most powerful reset. Just trolling. Drops this on his True Social. We've been hearing about the Great Reset from Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum and the digital reset and all this other stuff. Now he just drops a little clue that he's in alignment. He's walking lockstep with his controllers and with the the global elite or whatnot. World's most powerful reset. We don't know what he's talking about or in what context that he's saying it, but the fact that you even using the word reset, we've only heard that being echoed amongst elite circles who are talking about a global domination, instituting an NWO, fill in those acronyms, you already know what it is, moving towards a cashless society, digital surveillance, universal basic income, coffin shoebox living on top of each other, 15-minute cities, QR codes to buy, sell, to move around, to stay, connected to the B system. Otherwise, you can't buy or sell. You name it. Marking your carbon footprints, regulating your diet intake. Putting. I mean, y'all know what it is. Here he is trolling at 6 in the morning dropping a damn cryptic tweet about the world's most powerful reset is what? Is it underway? Are you in? He's on board with it. See, another lie. Remember, he was running around talking about he's independent. He's not a politician. He's a businessman. He's not compromised. He doesn't play by the rules. And that's what he sold himself on in 2016. Now, 10 years later, he's on board with the Great Reset, and he's on board doing everything that the global elites want him to do. Go figure. Trump promised to cut electric costs in half. Bills in energy-rich West Virginia now top mortgages. Hello? Another lie? Say it ain't so. Every month, Rebecca Milchowski takes a deep breath before opening her electric bill. She lives on a fixed income, and heating her small house this winter has been staggering. Her February charge was $940.08 more than her check. See, this is where you get the white trash, you know, the trailer park trash, living up there in the Appalachian Mountains in West Virginia and all that. You know, the inbred one, they over there tripping too. They're like, man, she ain't even making $900 a month, and she can't keep up with her electric bill, and she got nobody to blame but good old Trump, who you voted for. There you go. Buyer's remorse, anyone? Boom. So power bills going up. Agent Orange said he was going to cut it in half. That was a lie. He's not delivering on anything. Europe begins energy rationing as the crisis moves into daily life. There you go. Remember, we just talked about it earlier. A lot of European countries now have to ration their energy because why? They're not getting the gas, the fertilizer. Look, diesel gas is over $7 a gallon. Imagine what that's going to do for the fertilizer, industry, which equates to the food, the import and export, the transporting of food or whatnot. What else? I mean, let's see. Let's see how many uses. I know I spelled diesel wrong, but it is what it is. Many uses, primarily transportation, powering heavy-duty vehicles, trucks, buses, and trains, as well as construction equipment and generators. It is also utilized in agricultural machinery and some maritime applications, making it a vital energy source across industries. So there you have it. Diesel being one of the main sources of fuel and energy for agriculture machinery, construction equipment, trucks, buses, trains, and that's already over $7 a gallon now. Let's see what is that per gallon right now. Gasoline, food, energy, where we at? Regular gas is at $4 as of April 6th. I'm talking about diesel, gasoline, diesel. Diesel fuel is at $5.64. In California, I'm only talking about our prices. $7.56, 57 cents for diesel. That's California. The West Coast, $6. The average is $5, and on the East Coast is $5 everywhere, right? Of course, California got the highest. So imagine agricultural equipment suffering because you got to pay them high gas prices. Trains, buses, etc., all suffering because of it. Let alone the transporting of energy and things of that nature. we see the countries already buckling. Europe, energy rationing, right? Inflation surges, effects of the war show in prices. So we see inflation. Like I said, I spent $17 on 2 cases of water, down to $18 after the taxes, the CRV fees, and the price gouging that they got us on. I mean, unbelievable, unbelievable. And this is their answer for everything. Look, AI has replaced work for 20% of full-time employees in the U.S. A survey says. Now, they started keeping track of this, I believe, as of 2022. This particular company has been tracking it, right? So that's 4 years. They started really accumulating the data, and they like, look, the growing trend is AI is going to replace so many jobs. It's already at 20%. That's in the last 4 years. They're trying to do everything reset by 2030. So imagine another 4 more years. If they're doing 20% every 4 years, boost that up to 40%, 50% by 2030. Maybe greater than that. We've been seeing a lot of white collar jobs, especially doctors, lawyers, and all that corporate structures. They said they was ready to replace them within the next 12 months. And that was like 3 months ago. So if they're already tracking this, they're saying not only is it just replacing, but how many people or jobs are using AI. So the percentages will increase just based upon whether you're using AI for your job or has AI actually replaced your job. The poll from Epoch AI and IPSOS found that AI replaced existing tasks for 20% of full-time workers, but created new tasks for 15% of employees who had used AI in the previous week. So, everybody's looking for a way out as far as, survival. And Esau is going to constantly push robotics, AI, and everything else to replace us. He's right on task as he's boasting about the greatest reset ever is about to happen. Lastly, in Cincinnati, did y'all hear about this? Greater Cincinnati Waterworks rolls out canned water for service disruptions. Back on my prepper talk to y'all, and not necessarily, there ain't no big time prepper like Esau be doing and thinking he's gonna survive the end of the world. No. I always say, just be prepared for an emergency. Okay. So the water mains have been breaking all over Cincinnati, right? And the water supplies have been compromised. They say over 300,000 people in Cincinnati are relying upon the city to deliver them canned water so that they can survive. They've got bad pipes, the winter, freezing over the pipes and all kind of problems going on. They've had it, they've been having this problem for a few years now, but this year has been like the worst that they've had. And now they're passing out canned water for people in Cincinnati so that they can bathe, cook, and drink with. Greater Cincinnati Water Works is now rolling out a new product, canned water. New regulations from the Environmental Protection Agency requires officials to provide a gallon of water per person each day when water service is disrupted for 24 hours or longer. So you see the water system is collapsing over there in Cincinnati, where they have to institute. The EPA is telling them, you got to give a gallon of water every time this happens. That lets you know it's happening that often that they had to institute a whole regulation for them to say, look, every time y'all go through this, make sure you're giving everybody at least a gallon of water, each person. And that's what they tell everybody you should be. That's what you need to survive off of, a gallon of water a day per person. is the typical. So when you're doing your water conservation, if you're saving water or you're storing water, the general rule is you want at least a gallon of water per person in your household a day. That can be a lot, depending on how big your household is. It could be a little, but that's not to say that you need a gallon every day. But for comfortability, um, for your body's sake, let alone just for it could be for cleaning, cooking, etc. A gallon, they say, is sufficient per person. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're doing your water stores. It ain't just so much about making sure you got stacks of um, bottled water, but when you do that, consider how many bottles are going into a gallon, and that you have that at least for each person in your house, at least for a few days. You want to make sure that you got 3-4 gallons stored up per person in your house, because you never know, you may go without or need water for 3 or 4 days. And you're gonna need some water purification too, because when the clean water runs out, you might have to resort to the dirty. You might not be able to just boil right away. Who knows? But you may need to get a little bleach and dilute some water. You may have to get some water purification tablets just to have on deck. Just some jewels I'm dropping on you to make sure you got on deck. All right. Now here you go. In case of the water main break or other issues, waterworks crews can give residents cases of canned water instead of relying on purchasing water at the grocery stores. So, Cincinnati is all jacked up over there, man. Officials said the products support a local canning company, Modern Water, and are 100% recyclable, allowing waterworks to provide free water for community events. They've already had 125 cases in the first batch, which translates to about 3,000 cans. So take it from Cincinnati. They got a water crisis going on, and you may not always be able to rely on the city to get your back, let alone recyclable cans. Where are they getting this water from? There's always a precaution of saying, what are they putting in the water? Who knows, man? But precautionary tale, as we see the fabric of America breaking down, and you always want to make sure that you're prepared, just in case you need to have something, and you don't want to rely on Esau for it. So in closing, our sister Hashemai, I was talking with her via Facebook the other day. What was it? Today? Yeah, I think it was today. And the sisters embarking on a powerful task and agenda in her desire to help sisters of Israel with taking care of sisters in need. Okay, this is her new nonprofit that she's establishing. Okay, and the focus of the nonprofit is to help sisters, in particular, sisters that are in need of housing. Um, Let me see. She's got set. It's a 14-month transitional housing program for women in need who are ready to rebuild their lives. She wants to, the goal is to establish 2 or 3, assisted living, places for sisters that have fallen on their luck, sisters that need some assistance. Maybe they're coming off of, addictions or things of that nature. But this is an endeavor, sisters trying to, put it out there for our people. She wants to provide safe and stable shelter, food and basic necessities, life coaching and personal guidance, support and structure and accountability. It'll be a drug-free and alcohol-free program built for growth and discipline. So she got a lot going on, trying to get this thing off the ground. So I told her I'd help her, promote it. If you're interested or you got resources or what have you, you can reach out to the sister. If you're on Facebook, you can find her on Facebook as Hashemai Faith Yasha Allah. If not, take a screenshot of this, and you see here the phone number, the email, and also a Cash App. So, send your prayers up for the sister. And again, if you got any resources that may help the sister with her endeavor in helping sisters, get themselves in order and get them back on the right paths of righteous living. And obviously it'll be an outlet to help guide them and lead them to the Most High if they so choose. So keep that sister in your prayers. Again, if you got any resources or of somebody who may reach out to the sister. Again, it's a brand new endeavor that she's trying to get established, and through the blessings of the Most High, to come to fruition. So I just wanted to do my part and help her promote her new venture. And Lord willing, Lord blesses the works of your hands, sis. And like I said, you could always reach out to me, and I'll see what I can do to help you as well. All right. So with that being said, man, another one in the books, man. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High. Why Yahweh Shai. I always want everybody to remember, man, fear the Most High, keep the commandments. Do not shoot the messenger. I'm just a messenger. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. I'm just doing my job. All right. So with that being said, man, Lord willing, catch up with y'all tomorrow. We'll have a closing Shabbat class with MOTC at 4:15. See how the spirit moves tomorrow. Join us then. If not, watch it later. For those of you who didn't stay up with us tonight, Most High willing, you having a blessed Shabbat. All right. With that being said, I'm gonna get on out of here, man. Shalom.